Hello guys and welcome to another video of Tech and Picks, and today we are making a comparison video. I already did a comparative review of the Sigma EXDN 30mm 2.8 and the Sigma DCDN 30mm 1.4. When I made the review, I tested both lenses as best as I could on autofocus, how sharp they are, wide open, and low light performance and bokeh, all those nice things. Also video mode, what the video's quality looked like in both lenses, and it came out that actually the 30mm 2.8 is actually slightly sharper than the 30mm 1.4. Well, I got a lot of comments saying, hey, why are you making a test with the lenses wide open? Why don't you make a test with the lenses at like F5, F10, right before diffraction starts to set in around F11, F12, and so on. So I took extra pictures with the f-stop very much lower, so I put both lenses on the exact same level in the exact same lighting conditions. Now keep in mind that these pictures were taken a mere 5 to 6 seconds from each other. So the picture on the left side will be the 30mm 2.8, the picture on the right side will be the 30mm 1.4. Now let's get into the detailed comparison. So here I am much smaller in the corner, and as I said, the one on the left is a 30mm 2.8 and the one on the right is a 30mm 1.4. And already here we can see, let's back it up all the way. And as you can see, these two pictures tell two distinctly different stories. Now already from looking at this picture, you can clearly see that the one on the left is slightly brighter than the one on the right. Now both pictures are taken in this case at F10, 1/160th of a second, at ISO 1000, so they're both the same. So if you're gonna have grain, you're gonna have the same amount of grain. If you're gonna have any kind of brighter or less bright, all the settings are exactly the same. Now considering that it was really dark outside, so I needed to bump that ISO to 1000. It was necessary. So as you can see, the 2.8 on the left is already much brighter than the 1.4 on the right. So let's just jump directly into the corners, and as you can see on the left, the 30mm, now keep in mind there are no corrections here. There are no profile corrections, there are no lens corrections. That I just took the raw file, slapped it in Lightroom. I made absolutely no modifications whatsoever. You are looking at the full raw files. And as you can see here, well, already you see that the one on the right, which is the 30mm 1.4, the railing that is located here is distorted. So there is distortion automatically on the lens. Of course, enabling profile corrections, this is corrected up to a certain point. But the lens on the left, so 2.8, the railing, you can see the railing is much straighter. There is less distortion overall, and as you can see, it is not much, but a tad brighter. But the most important thing, the most notable thing that we're looking at here is the sharpness. Now, you can see, I don't know how well this is coming through on YouTube here, but the lens on the left, the 2.8, is considerably sharper. In the corner, now this is the top left corner, it's considerably sharper to make out enough details than the 1.4, which is on the right side. And you can just look, now we're nitpicking, I'm really nitpicking here. This is really, I'm pixel peeping to really, I'm zoomed in like a 300%, and it's really nitpicking here. You can see that there is a noticeable amount of detail. Again, I don't know how this looks on the video, but I'm looking here on my high quality computer, my HD computer screen. I can see a difference. Now this can be a little ridiculous because you'd expect, well, the other way around, considering that the 30mm 1.4 is usually anywhere from about $100 to $150, sometimes $200 more, depending if you buy it used or new. Now let's go to the bottom left, and here, you can't really tell, you can't really make out anything because it's so dark. On to the top right, honestly, it is exactly the same thing as the other corner. It really is nitpicking. Here for some reason, I don't see that much of a considerable amount of difference between the two. They both look the same to me. Really, they both look the same. The bottom right here, I think it probably will be the same. Here, for example, though, which is very interesting, I noticed that there is a little bit more detail in the shutters here than on the 30mm 1.4. You can actually even see that the left is slightly brighter. Again, I don't know how this is coming through on YouTube, but I can see this. I'm looking at it right now on my screen. Now we're going to go over to the F5 where it's automatically brighter to see if maybe F10, the diffraction is starting sooner on one of the two lenses with respect to F5. F5 at 5.6 is usually the sweet spot for any lens, so F5 is going to be really close, and that we should be able to notice the difference. Here we are, the exact same picture, exact same, they're lined up exactly the same. Now let's automatically start from the top left corner. And guys, what I'm looking at here, this shows you even more what I was talking about before. The 30mm 2.8 on the left is less distorted. It's generally brighter than the 30mm 1.4. I can see a notable difference in these brighter conditions at F5. This is really head-to-head. Again, nothing was done to these pictures. These are the raw files, and you can notice that there is a general the sharpness. You can see there's much more detail in the stones here compared to the 30mm 1.4 on the right side. You can clearly see that, and it's even brighter, and it's outstanding, the difference between these two lenses. When I go to the bottom left, same thing here at F5. The left, it's generally brighter, generally sharper. You can tell by these little tiny metal things here. Again, it might not come through the way it should on YouTube, but you can see the detail in the little screw, like in these little clamps down here holding these lines for the shutters. You can actually see the screw inside, whereas here you can't. I can't really see the screw in here. Now when I go to the brighter end on the top right of the picture, here also it's the same thing. This pretty much is confirming it. The Sigma 30mm 2.8 is better, absolutely better than the 30mm 1.4. Now there are a few things to consider. The 30mm 2.8 does not give you as good as bokeh as the 30mm 1.4. The 30mm 1.4, for what it costs, is ridiculously sharp compared to other lenses in the same category, at the same price, on the same system, you know, if you want to compare them to the other system. Now, if you ask me which one of these two lenses I would personally choose, I would go with the EXDN 30mm 2.8. If you really don't need that f1.4, because you're like, you know what, I don't need that bokeh, I don't need that separation, that bokeh separation, I don't need to take portraits. Let's say you want to take landscape pictures. So let's say it's landscape only. Get the 30mm 2.8. But if you really need that 1.4 because you want to take a portrait, because 30mm on a 1.5 crop sensor is going to be almost equivalent to a 50mm on a full frame. So if your main focus is you want great low light performance for video separate, so you want great low light performance for video, you want great low light performance for portraits, and you want that background separation, you know, just for those things there, I would get the 30mm 1.4. For everything else, I would get the 30mm 2.8, the EXDN. There is a gigantic difference in price. The 30mm 1.4, you can find it new for over $300, so it can be anywhere from $320 to $350, depends on where the prices are. It depends on whether you get it new or used or from Amazon or for not. But if you get it used, you can get it for substantially less. But the 30mm EXDN 30mm 2.8, you can easily find it used for under $100. I saw one the other, I actually saw somebody selling it for 80 euros. That's a little bit over $100. Now, if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe below. Click on that bell to receive notifications. And just visit the social media links, and if you want to compare the prices for both of these lenses, I have links in the description below to both of these lenses on Amazon in the United States, so you can just click on it, and if you decide to buy it, or if you click on the link and buy anything else from Amazon, you will help support this channel at no extra cost to you, but a little bit extra cost to me. That helps me, well, buying more lenses, essentially. So guys, that is it for the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good evening.